we'll just keep waiting for JP then.
I mean, when are we not? I mean, he's probably in the bathroom.
Oh yeah, he used to have to take his pre-pod. Yeah,
That's why he said that he needed a minute.
Now my kid's acting up. I went to Smoke Eaters yesterday.
Oh, how? Well, I know you don't go like too far down the line, but
It was good.
Did you go nuclear?
No, it was good. No, I didn't. No, I went to Honey Sriracha. That's probably as, but they're good. And then I got the Disco Tots too. So
nice.
Yeah,
it is 13 days until
National Wing Day.
National Wing Day. Yeah.
Come on, kid. Just fucking find your pacifier and go back to sleep.
No truer words ever spoken.
Did he say how much time? Like, has he responded since?
He just said, "I need a minute, please." That was it.
This is the longest drawn out pre-show. All right, well, you guys are early to the pod, so I can tell you what this week's list is, and you can be thinking about it. So you're really ahead of JP. This is Ranker again. This is the best sports teams not named after animals to go with our Redskins naming theme tonight. Sorry, Washington Football Club team.
Yeah.
See, naming
best names not animals.
Sports teams not named after animals. What do you think fans would? It's like Family Feud.
Yeah, it's like most popular.
You have to think of Family Feud. Only professional teams from the NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB, and MLS is on here. You guys been watching any of the MLS tournament?
Yeah.
I saw that awesome Earthquakes finish last night.
Yeah, that was very impressive.
That's crazy, man.
I love that they give them because they have those hydration breaks, they get 8 minutes of stoppage time each half.
It was 9 on the Earthquakes match.
Well, yeah, but it's I mean, minimum they're getting 7-8 minutes. It's like that Minnesota United game the other night. They tied and took the lead all on stoppage time.
Well, I mean, that's great for MLS though. To get the drama, the drama. Oh, I see an empty square. All right. Sounds good. Hey man, listen.
Can y'all hear me?
Go. Yeah, we got
What's
you.
up, dude?
Wait, you can hear me?
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's tight. I didn't know these headphones were real.
It sounds, it's got a little echo, but you're good.
Ah, damn it. I don't want to echo. I want my shit to be sexy like everybody else's.
No, it's good though. It's good. I think it's just you got to get some art on them walls.
We got to get you.
I'm in LA poor, okay? Broke Boys ENT CEO JP.
All right. On that note, JP's here. Let's start this shit. And welcome back into the bullpen. Once again, after dark. It's July 17th on the East Coast, where Andy Behrens is, where many people we know are. It's July 17th. But we're back here in the bullpen for episode 61, boys. Episode 61. Pretty slow news day, so we don't really need to get into that too much. But this is the Bullpen Podcast. JP, Evan, Brandon, Dan, back in the bullpen. Do follow us on Twitter. Someone's running the handle. No one's running the handle, but follow us on Twitter anyway, at the Bullpen Pod. We did figure out the password to the Gmail, bullpenpodcast@gmail.com. Send us a note. And, of course, you can check us out on Apple and review us, rate us, however all that stuff works.
We're 8 episodes away from something very special.
That'll be legendary for sure. But here we are, episode 61. I don't really know how to get into this conversation so much, but I think the big story of the day, and JP, it sort of falls on you to take us into this one a little bit. The Washington Football Club FC has a little bit of turmoil. A little bit of turmoil today. Not only do they not have a name, but they've got a lot more. They're wearing a lot more shirt right now. So I don't know. I don't know how you guys want to get into this. I didn't get a chance to read the entire Washington Post article today, but Evan, if you want to Cliff's notes or anybody want to chime in on kind of the genesis of this, and then we can kind of throw it around and see what you all think.
Cliff Notes, a bunch of perverted men harassing and abusing women again in the sports environment. I mean, what else can you say about it? It's 15 different sources in the story, which was staggering. And the part that kind of made it even more of a circus was there was days of speculation on social media about what this was going to be. And there was some unwarranted reaction of, oh, that's it, which is not the way to handle a situation when this kind of a story comes out. But that's the one sentence Cliff Notes summary of what happened. And as you mentioned, Dan, turmoil week in Washington.
What is this? I mean, on top of our already them having to rebrand, figure out another in light of all the stigmas that come along with their old nickname. How much worse is this for Dan Snyder and that team? JP, you're a fan or have been a fan at least in your lifetime. What are your thoughts on this initially?
For starters, a lot of people blame the media for shit that happens. What word am I looking for? They blame the media for how things are emphasized or politicized or blown out of proportions. I think the media got to take some flack for this one too, man, because they said this was incendiary and it was finna end Daniel Snyder and it was going to turn the franchise upside down. He was going to be forced to sell the team. And now it diminished what those 15 women went through, because all everybody really wants to argue about is, all right, man, it was a bunch of nasty dudes in the front office. Cool. That's actually not cool. That's really bad. But a week's worth of tweets and posts talking about just wait till the story drops. It's going to blow up. It's going to be all over. You're going to be able to crucify him upside down. That fully did not happen. And I feel like people are going to forget the real message, which was like these women were sexually harassed unjustly in the workplace and nobody put an end to it. And it still sucks that we didn't get to see Daniel Snyder burn at the stake. He fired those dudes. He's probably going to get away with this scot-free because he didn't physically touch anybody. Like, words still matter, but it's not as bad as his side, the NFL side, thinks it is. Like, he'll get a little slap on the wrist, and I don't know, 2-3 weeks, people will forget all about this, especially if football somehow comes back.
The other interesting about the story was that there was 15 women who came forward. Only one of them identified herself because the other 14 had all signed NDAs when they took the jobs with the teams, and they're fearing, possible lawsuit against them for anything they discuss, which corporate plug for the Iowa Sports NFL podcast, most of you will get on Friday. Charles Robinson, Therese Paylor will talk about the fact how that's something that teams across the league got to get rid of. These owners and teams cannot fall under this umbrella of being protected by NDAs and saying, well, whatever we do around here, no one's going to know about it because you can't talk about it. No, that's got to be the end of that moving forward.
I mean, you saw it in the entertainment industry. I mean, I assume this is not just exclusive to one team. This has got to be another culture problem with pro sports in general. I mean, I can't speak to them from firsthand knowledge, but and I don't know if there's a solution out there. But it's a troubling story, unfortunately, when they were already having problems. Brandon, what do you think?
I mean, when you look at it, like what JP was saying is how, everything was blown out of proportion, or they were making the story bigger than it was. And it is a big story. But you look at it, and this is not just something that's unique to the Redskins, or not something that's unique to the NFL, or not something that's unique to sports, or not something that's unique to, this happens all the time, everywhere, in any kind of business setting, personal setting, regardless of what it is. And it's sad that it's being, thought of as not that big of a deal because everybody was making it out to be this this dumpster fire that was going to blow up in Daniel Snyder's face, and at the end of the day, right now it feels, it almost makes it feel like the name change, is more of a big deal for that franchise than this, and it shouldn't be. But if you look at the team and you look, if you go beyond it and you want to say, okay, well, how is the team gonna focus? And obviously it's not the thing that matters the most right now, but you look at, what was it? Was it Jerry Richardson? Was that the Panthers owner that,
Yeah.
who was the head coach of that team? It was Ron Rivera. If there's a head coach who knows how to handle a situation like this and a creepy owner, it's Ron Rivera. But like Daniel Snyder's not going to get, he's not going to have his team taken away because of this. I mean, I feel like he should, but like JP said, he didn't touch anybody, or he's not being accused of touching anybody.
He didn't drop the N-word.
I mean, yeah, exactly. He may have hired some of these guys that did these things, but like, on a personal note, we've all worked with somebody who was a nightmare to work with. You guys know who I'm talking about. He who shall not be named. And he got fired, but the person who hired him didn't get in trouble for it, and rightfully so. They shouldn't have been. Like, so it's, it's a really awful situation. And it's just compounded by the fact that they don't have a name.
Do you
think?
Sorry.
No, that's good.
Do you think that, is there a repercussion for the franchise based on this report? And if there is, then does this start to open up the can or Pandora's box, so to speak, of like all these, we saw it with, like, I keep going back to the entertainment industry because it started the Me Too movement and you just kept seeing more and more people come out. Do we think that is something we're about to see Pandora's box open in the NFL, which would be good if it did? You don't want to hide it, but I'm just saying, like, do we think there'll be repercussions towards the Washington team, thus opening that box?
I don't. I think people drew a weird line between sexual harassment and sexual assault, in one sin being greater than the other. So if I say something out of pocket, yeah, that's bad, and I shouldn't have done that, but we can sweep that under the rug. When I cross the line and physically touch somebody unsolicited, now you got to really do something and make a move, i.e. give me about the paint, you get fired, you get blackballed, just do. But words, it almost feels as though words don't really hold the same weight as physical touch, because a lot of people have said a lot of nasty shit and fully kept their gigs and collecting fat paychecks. But when you cross the line and you touch somebody, that's when people take it serious. So it's like, oh, sexual harassment, that's bad. But sexual assault is where the line gets drawn.
Yeah.
And look at Brandon brought up Richardson. He ended up selling the team not long after that came out.
Right.
I mean,
but Richardson was one of the people that was accused in that situation.
And he was dropping the N-bomb.
Yeah.
A la Donald Sterling. So it was a little different too. Like Snyder he's done a lot of dumb shit, but he hasn't done what's on the list of getting you removed from your spot.
And to segue to the other part of the news with them this week with the name change, he probably was not going to start that conversation because he hasn't for years, unless Nike, Pepsi, FedEx, those other sponsors have come out and said, we're going to withhold our money if you don't change the name.
He said in all caps, I'm never going to change the team name. You can write it down. So.
Oh, yeah. And we all knew the only way he was going to do that is if people started pulling the money. So.
Well, and I mean, not to make light of the first story, we've all sort of addressed it. It'll be kind of interesting to see how it develops with Snyder and that team and the league, really, if there's a further drive into that culture. But you do mention the team name, and that was the sort of the conversation piece of the week until today. And I'd be curious what you guys think, the Washington team should be called, or some ideas that you've seen out there. What do you think it's going to be? I have no idea. I mean, I saw that there's that dude that like trademarked, a dozen names that made a lot of sense to try to make some money off of it. JP, you're the historian here for that team. Where do you think they're going, or would you like them just to be called Washington Football Club FC, as I've dubbed them?
Washington United.
Red Tails would have been fire, but
yeah.
I mean, Red Tails is also way too black for a toupee fiasco butt boy in Dan Snyder, so that'll never happen. So I have no idea how they're going to flub the name. And to your point, bringing the name back, see, they're already going to forget that 15
That's
plus
true.
women were sexually harassed because the name is such a big deal and everybody's up in arm about liberal snowflakes and don't change the name and yada, 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 BS, BS, BS. And we've already missed the point of at least one young lady busting up the NDA and coming forth and speaking her piece on behalf of the others. So like, it's just a big crock of shit in DC, man.
It's not.
That's why JP is on the Twitter brigade here to find a new team. So
yeah, I'm on that free agent list. Extremely tough now.
All right. Well, I assume that at some point once this cools off that they'll figure that out. If
remember, he said in the press release with the R name at the top of the press release for one time for the road. He said that it wouldn't be soon that he would drop what the new name is. So like he has to rebrand an entire franchise in 2 months. That's less than 60 days, which is unprecedented. It's unheard of. I don't think that's ever happened before. Even I don't know why it would happen before, but yeah, he's got 2 months to rebrand an entire franchise. And yes, he's a billionaire, but he's also not the sharpest knife in the drawer. So they're up a creek.
Amidst a new PR shitstorm that they're going to have to.
Well, he's going to have to rebrand the team so they can get some of that merchandise money back to pay all these legal fees that they're going to have to be dealing with now.
What do you think?
I mean, JP makes a great point. I mean, the stuff that they have to get done, merchandise, jerseys, signage, everything that has to get done by the time maybe September 13th comes around. Maybe it's a little bit later than that. Who knows? Even if the season does get slightly pushed back, that is a lot to figure out in that amount of time. So, yeah, it could just be Washington Football Club FC United, LLC.
I
mean, the scheduling, how they say the name on the broadcast, like it just it seems almost nothing's impossible. It seems impossible to get that done in such a short turnaround. And like you said, the trademarks, when old boy already trademarked the 8 names just because he wants to get paid. It just doesn't seem like it's going to happen in the fashion that people expect it to. So actual Washington football fans will be even more disappointed than they already are now.
Evan, you alluded to the possibility of this thing not actually starting on September 13th, like we're expecting. JJ Watt tweeted out today some thoughts on sort of like what the players know and they don't know in their calls over the last couple weeks. I'm interested. I don't know if you guys saw it. I'm actually just looking at it for the first time, but I'll read it unless anybody wants to. But basically, he's saying like, here's what we know and we don't know. We want to play. We want to be as safe as possible. We've not received a single valid infectious disease emergency response plan from any team or the league. We don't know if there are preseason games. We don't know if there will be daily testing, semi-daily testing. We don't know how a positive COVID test would affect contracts, roster spots, etc. Nothing has been agreed upon, and they want to play. So they want to play. We know that, right? The first and last. But it sounds like the players have no idea how this is going to work with COVID. And the NFL has never stopped. They've always just kept doing what they're supposed to do to get the season started on time. What are your takeaways on this?
Well, JJ wants to play as long as he doesn't have to wear a face mask, because he also came out earlier this week and said the prototype mask that would cover the bottom part of the face shield
thing, or the plexiglass, whatever it was.
He said, he had to do it once and years ago in a practice, lasted a few series and said, forget it. So he says he claims he won't play if he has to wear something like that. There's so much shit they got to figure out with all this. I mean, we're already seeing the testing stuff with baseball and NBA, the period of time that if you get a positive, how long you got to wait and sit out. They're supposed to be starting camp soon. I still can't believe that there hasn't been any certainty yet in terms of that the league said, okay, we're going to go down to 2 games. But then the players said, no, we're not playing any. Yeah. And there's been nothing since then. Like, how do they, we're 2-3 weeks away from preseason and they haven't figured that out yet.
Pelicero's tweet says, so the clock is ticking If the NFL and NFLPA don't have an agreement on testing and other health and safety protocols before Monday, Chiefs and Texans players will be required to report or face discipline, setting a stage for potential grievances. Like what? You know that's not going to happen over the weekend. That's just not how the league works.
No.
But
there's
I can't.
no way those grievances can hold. I mean, the penalties can hold. There's no way those will hold up.
I don't see this going the way of baseball, though, with all the bickering and I mean, maybe it will. Maybe we're looking at a stoppage based on the safety and the health standards, right? Like, could there be enough of an argument from the Players Association to hold out?
I think baseball, though, the safety issue was big, but I think baseball, it was more about
the money. No, but I'm just saying, like, if that's the concern by the players.
I mean, it baffles me that, whether it was baseball who had the opportunity to take advantage of nobody else playing and they dragged their feet and they butted heads for a long time, or the NFL who's had, this happened in their off season, prime for them to get their crap together, see how these other leagues, I mean, all these soccer leagues in Europe they've been up and running for a while now. Like, why can't you, try to figure, I understand the NFL and soccer are different, you got guys colliding with each other on a regular basis, but the fact that you should have the smartest minds running these leagues and being, this is your number one concern. This is the one thing you need to figure out to get your product back on the field or rink or court or whatever. And, these people just can't do it. It baffles me. I mean, it should baffle me, but the way this country is as a whole, nothing really shocks me anymore.
Well, the Washington team just showed you that the brightest minds don't even run franchises correctly. So if it's a league-wide thing, you probably know they're behind the 8 ball in almost everything 3 whole ass months later.
Yeah, I'm with you, Ev. I don't know how they're going to get. I mean, well, all of us, but I don't know how they're going to get this thing dialed in 2 months or 3 weeks before the preseason starts. I mean, I'm still even tripping on baseball starting in a week.
They're not going to play a single preseason game, which is going to really suck because week 1 is just going to be a freaking disaster. Weeks 1 and 2 probably will be really bad. Which, as a Vikings fan, we play the Packers week 1, so I'm kind of hoping they're a disaster. But
the sad part will be the injuries, though, because you haven't.
That's what I was going to say.
Full contact, you haven't hit anybody, and now all of a sudden, a running back is coming around the corner and you get blasted in the knee.
I think that's going to be a bigger issue the first few weeks than the coronavirus. That's why the rosters need to be expanded, which I think they kind of agreed to expand them. To make it so they have extra people in case guys test positive or whatever. But now you're going to need those extra guys because a bunch of guys are going to get hurt.
I think that, like, you've seen this with college football quite a bit in the last couple of weeks with conferences deciding they're not going to play non-conference. They're basically starting their season a month later. What would you guys, let's go around the horn. What would you say the percentage chance is that the NFL starts on time? And maybe it's 100, and then on top of that, do we get 16, 17 weeks in? What do you think?
We fully not getting a full season. I think it'll start late and it's not going to be a full season.
What do you think, Gav?
I think more likely, it does not start on time. They shorten the season and they put the contingencies in the schedule about that, right? I mean, they had the way they set the buys up, if I remember right. They adjusted it in some way to make it to where they can cut back if need be. So I think they're ready to do that if need be. I think that's more likely.
Brobes, how does that work, though, if you've got a division opponent week 1 and you don't start play till week 4? I guess you have to shuffle that game into your bye week, right? Something like that?
Yeah, I honestly, I'll be blunt with you. I didn't read the specifics on if they don't start on time, but
do you think they do?
I actually do think they start on time, but I will 100% say that they will not finish the season. Like I said that on our last podcast, I don't think they're going to finish. I don't think most of these seasons. You already see the MLS struggling. Like they canceled a match the other day 5 minutes before it was supposed to start.
Yeah.
Like they're like it's cool that sports are coming back, but like I don't think they were. And it's not necessarily all the players and the leagues and everything. Like they're not prepared in their own way, but it's the whole country as a whole is not helping the cause. They needed to go to like Montana and like they needed to do what the UFC did: build an arena on an island out in the middle of nowhere and control the environment instead of going to Florida or or Vegas or wherever, because like nowhere in this country is really safe unless you just go to some remote part of South Dakota or something like that.
South Dakota is nice this time of year.
I thought LA was bad, but the Florida cases are
Florida.
The Texas cases are like the South as a whole is right there.
Well, Arizona's not helping out either.
Right. And there are teams in the hot spots. So how do the teams work around, get around? I mean, players, family, people you come in contact with.
Like, as dirty as politicians are, it baffles me that, these sports teams aren't throwing them some money to be like, hey, can you shut things down so we can play some sports and make some money here? Like, I'm shocked that hasn't been more of a thing. If I was an owner, that's what I would be trying to do.
The politicians are worrying more about their political gains or losses than money. Yeah.
But we don't need to talk politics at this
sorry.
juncture.
My bad.
No.
My bad.
I'm just kidding.
Shout out Pat
it is an election year after all. Yeah, shout out Pat 40. That's actually where I was going next. That was a pretty good column today. But the one that I wanted to bring up mainly because it pains me so was his realignment plan, the 40 FBS realignment plan. JP, you probably know this one pretty well as a colleague. I don't know, man. Like this is a tough one for me because we're one of the 4 teams that get left out of Division One. But when you guys look at this, what do you think of making it sort of a 4? It's 4 super conferences basically, right? Is that how he had it? It was like big, yeah. What do you think, Evan? Like, I mean, it's putting you in there with the Fighting Aztecs of San Diego State, but
yes, you're joking that you feel bad because it's like soccer. They got relegation to elevation.
Yeah,
San Jose State's getting kicked down, so they're no longer in D1 or FBS anymore.
You didn't have to. I mean, we have to get.
I just wanted to, for our listeners, they need to completely understand the situation.
Yeah.
So then it's 10 leagues with 12 teams each, which I like because there's always that whole thing of like the Big 10 has 12 teams in it, the Big 12 has 10 teams. Like, no, make it clear everyone's got the same amount of teams, and then conference championship, etc. But yeah, ASU joining into the Rocky Mountain Division with, of course, our hated rivals from down south. I don't know, Air Force, Boise, Colorado State, Utah. Like, I don't know, it's kind of a different adjustment. I always think about playing California schools, so it'd be kind of weird to not be playing USC or Cal or any of them. But I'm in favor of it. I like it.
Yeah, I'm down with that. I'm down with that conference. That's 10 wins easy.
I guess I don't. I don't mind the. I kind of like the relegation, thing in general, but I don't understand how like. I don't understand, the teams that he pulled out that have won bowl games or have been in bowl games in the last 4 or 5 years. Like
Daniel, anybody can be in a bowl game. Just be happy that
it doesn't
you're
matter.
relegated to NAIA, where you should be.
All right, I guess I don't have a leg to stand on too much here, but like, I mean, FAU. Okay, I'm going through this. Like Georgia State getting into D1 over San Jose State to me is surprising. But that's.
Do you think that your school could beat Georgia State?
We did in a bowl game.
What year?
That was our last bowl win, so that would have been, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago.
Was David Fales the quarterback?
Greatness of David Fales.
Exactly. Hey, by the way, sorry, did you know that Josh Love actually signed with the Rams? He's their 4th stringer. He won't make it through the preseason, but.
Wow.
See that tight end?
No, he's a quarterback last year.
Yeah, as a QB.
Yeah.
He might be the clipboard holder.
So part of this thing is an expanded playoff, which I think everybody's sort of like salivating for. Do you think that? When do you think we see an expanded playoff in college football? I mean, this year is probably going to be a complete disaster as far as how they figure out how that playoff's going to go anyway. So, what do you guys think? Do you think we get an expanded playoff by 21, 22?
No. You remember the games from the last playoff, and people were saying like, "Oh, so and so got left out." And it was like, no, there are essentially 4 teams, and they are the 4 teams, and the 4 teams that made it should have been there. Because then when cats start getting their ass whooped, being like the 6th team and the 8th team, everyone's going to be complaining back again. There are too many teams in the playoffs. There's too many.
I always look at that, when Bama like whooped Michigan State that one time, or when Bama whooped Notre Dame that one time.
Yeah, the Notre Dame game was the one that stands out. Like Notre Dame had no business playing.
Didn't LSU just whooped Oklahoma, didn't they?
Yeah.
Too, this past year, and then Oklahoma got whooped by Alabama the year before that. Like you guys know me well enough. Like I don't think I was a fan of the 2 teams. I wasn't big fan of expanding, and I'm not a fan of expanding again, because you're only going to expand it further and further and further, and you're going to end up with like, oh, the 17th and the 18th teams are angry because they got left out, even though they're like 9-3 and stuff like that. And it's just you get to be like the NCAA tournament bubble teams that are, oh, this team's 19-13 and they're angry that they didn't get into the NCAA tournament. Well, you shouldn't have lost 13 games. Like you shouldn't be rewarded for just because you win 9 games in the SEC and stuff like that. Like I think it's fine the way it is. I was fine with the way it was beforehand, and like I hope they don't expand it, but I know they're going to. They're going to find a way, because it's all about money.
Maybe we add one extra spot for the UCFs of the world, because when they went 13-0, they had an argument. Now, granted, if they had gotten to that game and got whooped, we would never know. But they deserve to be in when they were 1-loss teams in the top 4, and they were undefeated in a good conference.
I'd be a fan for expanding it if you get rid of those lower end bowls that don't matter. No one cares about the bowl games between December 16th.
Sorry, the ones that Dan's talking about?
Yeah.
The Cure Bowl, man.
That's not a personal shot, Dan. That's
no, I got you.
A good point. Yeah, bowl games do not need to be played before Christmas.
Yeah. Get rid of all, like, I mean, and again, but they're not going to do that because, again, money. So,
but they make the money by expanding it to 8 or 16 and do it that way. Those games would be played beforehand, but forget the crap bowls before that.
The mean green of North Texas, like they're not going to get their, they're not going to get their check if they don't make it to their Ragin' Cajun Bowl that they go to every year, it feels like, or whatever.
Dan's going to miss the New Mexico Bowl.
Hey, man, New Mexico Bowl champions. I have to say this, and maybe I'm a sucker because I like, pools and brackets and things like that, but I do enjoy the college bowl season because it gives me a reason to watch 40 college football games. Like, I get in a pool, there's money on the line. I mean, I guess you could do that with 20. It would be the same thing, but no, I don't mind all the bowls as sort of like exhibitions on the other side. Like it's fine. I mean, I think maybe to your point, Evan, like you just raise the Mendoza to like 7-5, instead of like a 5-17, a la San Jose State getting in based on their academics. But I don't know. I know you're shocked. You're surprised, right? But that's actually how they got in at 5-7. I don't know. I mean, I'm just thinking through these conferences, and I just thought it was kind of an interesting conversation to see. Like,
which conference do you feel your squad has the best opportunity to get 3 wins?
In the 40 divisions?
Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, he does it geographically for obvious reasons. So we would, if we were in this, we would be in the Pac-12 because they'd probably move a Nevada to Rocky Mountain and put us in here with all of the people that we played, So we would not win 3 games there. Well, maybe we would. I mean, there's some shitty Pac-12 teams. And Fresno's still here. So I don't know. But that Rocky Mountain Conference is basically the Mountain West combined with 4 teams from the Pac-12, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I said 10 wins easy.
yeah. Yeah, well, something. It's not going to obviously happen, but I just thought there would be some debate here. I mean, like Wisconsin and Minnesota are kind of get gifts, although they're in there with. Yeah, that's like them moving out of the Big Ten into this Midwest is nice. Anyway, let's go NBA since we were talking about Florida. That's where they're going to be.
Dan is amazing at segues. I was waiting to see how he was going to say.
I don't know. I actually don't. This James Harden thing, I have no idea. This just popped on the rundown. So
I caught this before we started taping, and I had to throw it on because I had to hear JP's thought on it because I saw these pictures of Harden today, and it didn't even register.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize it.
I saw it when the team posted it, and I said, "Wait, he might be a big Marvel guy. Like he likes the Punisher, but not that Punisher face mask, bandana, scarf. Just not that one."
So what we're talking about here is Harden. The Rockets tweeted out a picture of Harden. He's wearing like a full face, top to bottom mask. He's obviously got his NBA credentials on, and then it looks like a blue. What am I looking at? It looks like a blue American flag kind of a thing, or
it's like it's a blue stripe American flag, the whole Blue Lives Matter look. But I just couldn't believe the team account put that out.
Yeah,
I didn't think about that.
Somebody didn't catch that like that.
It's still up.
Yeah, they haven't taken it down.
The thin blue line mask. Yeah. I mean, it is sort of subtle, but I mean, like if you have to look at it. But I mean, now that I see it, now that I'm looking at it deeper.
It's hard to miss it.
Yeah.
Now that you notice it.
So what sort of I mean, like, I don't know what. Trying to look at some of these responses. It looks like you've got both sides of the line on Twitter, sort of some defending, some not. Any takeaways, guys? Any thoughts?
There'll be an apology tomorrow.
Official apology?
Yep.
So I'm gonna
Gonna have to be. I mean, they've got fans on both sides, but
I was gonna say, isn't Texas is one of the hotter hotbeds when it comes to the Blue Lives Matter.
Yes, because they kill and execute people in prison too, so they'll like double kill you in Texas. They're second to California in cops killing unarmed civilians, especially the darker hued ones. So there's that.
Huh.
Yeah, I
didn't have to talk about it long. I just had to
No, I mean, it's interesting. I'll be curious to see if there's a statement if the team puts something out tomorrow.
I'll just blame his Arizona State education. That's what I'll.
Part of the new.
I mean, he was only there for 2 years. So
what did he study? What was his major?
Oh, that's a great question.
Underwater basket weaving.
It was always either interdisciplinary studies.
Yeah, like general studies.
Athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or sociology.
Or communications.
Oh.
Those are the two popular ones for the athletes.
Sports management.
Yeah.
It doesn't show his major on here, but I think that's funny. Kinesiology.
I'm gonna find that out.
Kinesiology.
That's the other one. That's the other one where you just hang out in the gyms. Just do kinesiology major. All right. Well, since we've kind of transitioned to the NBA, I thought it would be, since we've got like 3 little mini seasons here, if you guys want to make some picks, since we probably won't record until after all this stuff starts. Maybe we will, but make some picks on who you think's gonna pull out the 22 team tournament in Orlando. And then we could start there and then maybe hit the other 2 before we get out of here.
Lakers.
Who wants to start? Do we think it's the Lakers?
I mean, you saw Doc's using the snitch line now, okay? So he's gaining some traction on the rat line. So that means instead of the Lakers in 3 and they lost Rondo, it's going to be Lakers in 6.
Who are you taking? You on Lakers too?
Lakers getting banged up, man. Rondo's out. Bradley's out. I'm gonna go Clippers. A little more depth. You got Kawhi, PG. Doc's gonna work the hotline, get everyone else out.
Well, you've seen playoff PG.
Yeah, true. I'll go Clippers over Bucks.
Clippers over. Okay. Probes, who you like here?
I gotta be honest with you. I haven't really looked that hard. The most NBA stuff I've really been watching is, bubble related snitch line content that JP's been putting out, which has been phenomenal.
Thank you.
Or, who's crossing the line to go pick up their, Arby's order that's come into the bubble. I think it's gonna be somebody that you're probably not thinking of, because one of these big teams is gonna get hit with a COVID case right before the finals or something like that. It would not shock me to see Heat Nuggets or Celtics Jazz or something like that in the finals.
Charles Barkley said the Blazers today.
Man, where are they?
As if he knew something the rest of us didn't.
Well, aren't they still on the outside?
Yeah, they have to make it in. But if he said if they make it in, they're going to win the chip. It's oh
wow.
They're in the 9th spot, so they got to finish within 4 games of the 8th spot to get that play in if they don't get to the 8th spot. But they're getting Zach Collins back. They're getting Nurkic back, and I completely forgot they were in the West Finals last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they got swept, but they made it.
I mean, if I was picking a team, though, I'd probably go with the Bucks. Just Giannis, I feel he just literally puts himself probably in a bubble, when he gets to his room, just to make sure he sleeps in that thing that made Iron Man, that made Captain America. A
hyperbaric chamber?
Yeah. He just hangs out in there. He's got a TV screen and watches TV. Just to make sure he's ready. So I'll go with the Bucks.
We don't think that Toronto has anything here? There's
we hate Kyle Lowry.
I was gonna say Kyle Lowry's gonna F something up. He's just,
he's gonna roll into somebody's knee and injure them.
Yeah. on his own team.
You guys know my NBA acumen is trash, as JP used to say. So I don't know who I would pick here either.
Evander Kane,
yes, he's NBA Finals. All right, so beyond that, we got the baseball season starting next week. All of our squads are actually playing as opposed to NBA and NHL. So assuming not all the players are, but all the squads are. What do you guys think is the outlook for your particular franchises in this 60-game season? Ev, A's, start there.
So as an A's fan, there's 2 schools of thought. There's we don't get hot until July anyway.
That's true.
So this is the perfect time of year for the season to start. Or it's a short season, it's going to take them a while, and by the time they get going, the season's over. I actually heard on ESPN that they did a promo. Is this the year the A's catch the Astros? I was like, what? But, so,
how many wins?
Yeah, at a 60, I'll go 38.
38-22.
Yeah.
And playing in 3 tiebreakers to get into the playoffs, because that's what that's going to take with 38 wins. JP, you going O's?
I'll be happy if the O's get dubbed. I don't even think they'll get 20.
I'm right there with you, buddy.
For a second, I thought you meant double digits.
Or that. If we want to keep it a buck, if they get 15 wins, that's a small victory for that franchise. They're so bad. They're so bad. Buck Showalter had a little bit of glory, and then it ended so quickly, and it's been terrible ever since.
I fear the same fate for the Giants this year. It's just a bunch of kids who don't have anything. I think that. So I would go with you. We're probably in the low 20s, if that. I mean, the team that has the most probably who's on the biggest upswing is Bros's team. So, what do you think? Do you think we got 40 wins?
Yeah, I mean, I initially, before I heard Evan's prediction, I was gonna go with like 36, just because, like, you know, I think 40 is a bit. You know, I think 40 is kind of reserved for the Dodgers, the Yankees. You know, you got to look at who they're playing. You know, the Central.
That's true.
It's not the greatest division in the world, but the Indians are solid. The White Sox are coming up, and then they got to play the NL Central. The Cubs and the Brewers, and I know, again, that's not the greatest division in the world either. But you know, there's always going to be like fluky streaks. There's going to be fluky injuries. That kind of stuff happens, and you know, it's a Minnesota sports team. They always kind of, I mean, not that 36 and 24 is a letdown, but I mean, who knows? I could be wrong. It could just go on a tear. Like, if their lineup stays healthy, they're, you know, one of, if not the scariest offensive lineups in baseball.
Oh, absolutely.
It's going to come down to their pitching, like it always does. So.
All right, well, that in mind, anybody care to make a World Series winner prediction here ahead of the season?
The Orioles have the best empty stadium to play in. I mean, Camden Yards.
I love Camden. I love Camden Yards.
It's beautiful. So they're gonna lose, but it's gonna look great.
I went there opening day of that stadium.
Like, isn't it flawless?
Yeah, no, I loved going to that game. I was there for the '94 All-Star game. I watched Griffey hit him off the. I was at the Home Run Derby watching Griffey hit him off the warehouse like that. That was, yeah, that's a fun ballpark to go to for sure. It's too bad it's been a while. Oh, it's only been like a few years since they've been to the playoffs.
3.
It feels like it's longer, but
it feels like a decade.
Yeah.
So not the Orioles in the World Series. Who do you think, JP? Is this a Nationals repeat given the short schedule, or do we think the Dodgers finally get it right after not, you know, completely puttering out in the playoffs, kind of a thing?
I don't love the Expos from Montreal, but we're definitely not putting the Dodgers with Kershaw in the World Series. Stop it.
Well, they've only been to, like, you know, what, three out of the last 4, right? Or 2 out of the last 3, I guess.
2 out of the last 3, yeah.
Yeah. Evan, you're not going?
I'm gonna paint a picture. Game 7 of the World Series. Yankees, Braves, bottom of the ninth in Atlanta, empty stadium. Pinch hitter Yasiel Puig.
Puig
Steps up.
Off Chapman, yes. Let's do
Off
it.
Chapman, game winning.
Yeah.
Series winning homer. He does the Joe Carter around first base.
Do you know what that bat flip looks like?
Oh my God.
Chapman
he might
makes
just chug it into the 5th row.
Oh, the bat flips are going to be great if there's nobody in the stands.
Yeah, like, who are you throwing?
They're going to be taking out those cardboard cutouts that people are paying for. Just pop, like whack-a-mole. Wow. All right. Well, hey, you heard it here first. Braves over Yankees in the World Series.
Puig. Wait, Evan, did you pay for a cutout at the Coliseum?
I didn't. I should have. I should have thought about it.
Yeah.
It would
See that slight hesitation there?
Yeah. It would have been actually a little bit harder to get a foul ball that way than it is in real life. But if I'd been
I was going to say, Mike Fears could go Wild Thing Vaughn and take your head off.
I'll take it.
All right. Well, mostly for Brobes to pick the Stars to at least advance. Do we have any NHL picks for this? Obviously, the 24 teams are in it. The top 2 teams going into this were Boston in the East, Tampa Bay right behind them, and St. Louis and Colorado were the top 2 teams in the West. I mean, I think it's probably an Eastern Conference team, but Brobes, I'll defer to you. You've watched more hockey probably this year than I have.
I mean, it's going to be Homer-ish, but I really think the Stars have a good shot. They lucked out that they're in the round robin part of this thing where they get to play and have a chance to be the number one seed. And if they, get hot out of the gate, which they did during the regular season, they can, be the number one seed. And I don't know how much that really is going to play a factor. You're not going to get home ice or whatever, but I think they have a really good shot at actually making it to the final. In the East, it's going to come down to Boston and Tampa Bay. I think Boston's the most complete team, but again, you have all of these what ifs, whether it be injuries, because these quick training camps that these teams are going to be, coming out with, and this goes for the NBA and the MLB as well. These guys aren't going to be in the shape that, usually spring training and training camps, they're months long. This is going to be a quick shot to try to get ready, and who knows who's going to, either get hurt or come down with coronavirus or whatever. So I think that's, it's not exciting, but it kind of throws a huge wrench into all of these seasons that, you expect the unexpected when it comes to what happens. Who knows? Yeah, the Blazers could win, but the Stars have, they could win. But I'll go Stars Lightning. I think that would be a fun series. That'll be my,
I think you should have gone all caps. We have Ovi.
Yeah. You guys are the city of champions now. You guys don't need it.
Yeah, things are working really, really well.
Yeah.
Really well in the nation's capital. Ev, do you want to take a stab at the NHL? No. I feel like it's going to be some. I feel like just given the nature of this tournament thing, it's just going to be some random God, I hope it's not Vegas. Fuck, I hope it's not Vegas.
The Avalanche. The Avalanche have a really good shot. They're a super exciting team. But speaking,
I'm a huge Adam Foote fan.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah,
I love Peter Forsberg, Joe Sakic, and Patrick Roy.
There we go.
Once again, we've tapped JP's hockey knowledge. That's it. That's all he's got. That's all we have.
Fantastic.
I was a beast in NHL '99.
Oh,
to beat
the
me
best.
With the Avalanche first line. I was crushing people. Or I'd take the Flyers because Eric Lindros would beat the hell out of everybody.
So JP, who else was on that first line with Forsberg and Sakic?
That's it, dog, and Patrick Roy.
Oh man.
That was it. Just those three. It was a triangle. It was a triangle offense in hockey.
Are you playing NHL hits?
Oh, I remember that game.
That game was fun too.
Great.
Yeah,
that was great. All right. Well, we're getting long here, but before we get out of here, I did have one quick list. If you guys want to take a stab at this, this is another list from Ranker, and it's people voting on what they think the best sports teams not named after animals are, and this sort of alludes back to our earlier conversation that we didn't really complete on new team nicknames. But let's just go with the top. I don't know. I don't know if we need to do top 10, but if you guys want to take some guesses here, we can see. I'll read them off as we go.
Trojans have to be high because that's a prophylactic.
It's professional.
That is
professional.
Very good point, JP. But it is limited to NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB, and MLS. All right, so here we go. What do you think? Throw some out. We'll see what you got. So non-sports team names. I mean, non-animal team names. Throw them
Washington
out.
Bullets.
Well, that's not currently a professional team, but
it's not past and present. It's just
it's okay. It's not on this particular list. Maybe I'll see if there's any historical ones down the line here. But FC Cincinnati's at 15. If anybody cares about that. What else you got, Evan?
Cincinnati's at 15. That's
Ohio was.
I will say this:
sports names. 49ers.
Not in the top 10. I will say this: that There aren't a lot of votes on this. There's 2,300 votes on this, but there's not like a ton for each one. So it is a small sample.
Was this you, Jay, Don, and Kellen on a binge?
I just sat here and
yeah. Okay.
I'll just start at number 10. You guys guess them as we go. Actually, number 10 is the Toronto Maple Leafs. Surprisingly, yeah. There's some NFL teams on here.
Are the Patriots up there?
The Patriots are number 6. Yeah.
The Cowboys have to be up there.
Number 5. Yep.
The Lakers.
Lakers 3.
Yeah.
The Celtics.
Number 1. The
Ugh.
Celtics.
Oh.
I know.
Boston's
about
always
Although
bored.
I will say this: the number of upvotes is tied with number 2 for the Celtics. So number 2, and this is the one I thought was kind of surprising. So
the Wizards, clearly.
No.
The Magic.
Nope.
The
Raiders.
Suns.
Nope. I'll go from the bottom to the top here. So 10 was the Maple Leafs. 9 was the Dodgers. You guys are getting there on the basketball team. The 8 was the Spurs. Surprisingly, number 7 was Boston Red Sox. You already got 6 at the Patriots. 5 was the Cowboys. Number 4 is a baseball team. I'll let you guess that one. This is one we didn't get to. But I mean, it's not a surprise that it's in the top 10 given the popularity.
The Yankees.
The Yankees are number 4. Lakers 3. Number 2, Brobes. This is the surprise. This team was founded in 1909. They've won 24 championships.
Oh, is it hockey? 1909, 24 championships.
There's
The
a team with
Blackhawks?
24 Stanley Cups.
There is.
Canadians.
The Canadiens, indeed.
Oh.
Canadiens, number 2, basically tied with the Celtics for non-animal sports team names. And then I started thinking as I was looking at that and I was reading those off, is like, how many professional sports teams are actually named after animals? I guess like the Bills and I guess there's a lot. But I don't know. Anyway, wasn't that captivating of a list, but your Boston Celtics and Montreal Canadiens.
I'm
All
shocked
right.
they didn't put the Expos on there since they won a championship just last year.
Yeah, the Nationals aren't here either. The Niners were 14, by the way, Ev, on this. Yeah. Neither Giants team made the top 20. All right. Anyway, I guess we should go. It's really late.
Again, another classic segue.
I got nothing, man. That's going to do it for this edition of the Bullpen Podcast. We'll check y'all at some point in the next few weeks. As I said earlier, follow social. JP's going to start running the social handle, so there'll be really great content on there.
Shoot me the password.
I don't think we could figure out the damn password. I think I figured it out, but I'll send it over. Anyway, thanks for checking out the Bullpen Podcast. And you guys, anything else throw in there before you go? No? Good?
Hold up.
Here we go.
I need to get it correct. What we need to do is get these 3 pigs, Jonathan Mattingly, Brett Hankinson, and Miles Cosgrove, need to be arrested and then thrown under the jail and then sent to hell to burn for eternity.
With Daniel Snyder.
Oh, they could all go together. That's a package deal right there.
Damn right.
Fearsome foursome, upside down.
Amen, JP.
Yep.